All right, so question 3 says find measure of angle JKF. It's 5x minus 6. JKL is 125. JKL is 25x minus 1, find x. Okay, first thing I always do is try to organize your information in the picture such that you're adding the right things together. So JKF, J to K to F, is going to be that angle right there, correct? Okay, so that's the 5x minus 6. Okay, then they say FKL. Well, FKL is going to be that blue angle right there. So 125, right? So just because that's the order that they showed up in, and I recognize that they are the two smaller angles, right? Those two together are the ones that we're going to add, okay? We always want to think about finding the adjacent angles and add those together. So we're going to take, give this thing a moment, it's kind of lagging. There we go. We get 5x minus 6, add to it 125. So that's the red part plus the blue part, and that should then end up giving you the entire angle. Let's use the highlighter here. It'll give you that entire yellow angle. Okay? Well, that entire yellow angle is expressed by the 25x minus 1, right? J to K to L is the total. So we're going to set this thing here equal to 25x minus 1. We're then going to start, combining like terms, moving all variables to one side, all constants to the other side, that kind of stuff. I see that this is going to be, 119 when I add the negative 6 and the 125 together. Okay. I'm going to move the 5x to the right-hand side through subtraction. So it gives me 20x minus 1 on the right-hand side. Now, does it make sense to move the 1 to the left through addition? So I get 120 is equal to 20x. Okay, well, 12 divided by 2, that's the way I see it. Hopefully you guys start seeing that stuff as well. If that's got a 0 in it and that's got a 0 in it, you just do 12 divided by 2, right? Okay, so it gives me 6 is equal to x. All right. You can check yourself. You can go back through and plug this stuff back in. And to double check, 5 times 6 is 30, minus 6 is 24. Okay, so this yellow angle through the use of the red one and the blue one gives me 149. Okay. If I come up here and I take 25 times 6, well, 25 times 6, about 6 quarters, I got $1.50, right? $1.50 minus 1, $1.49. So you got 149 for the yellow, and I got 149 when I add the blue and red together, so I do have that built-in check to make sure that x is 6, and that is correct. Does that help? Okay. Make sure that you guys realize we have to first find the individual parts that we need to be adding together. Okay. For instance, a lot of people get in a habit. I think 1, 2, and 3. You could have just done the first two add together equals the third one. But if I do that here, I got 8 IHL. IHL being that angle there. 15x plus 1. Okay. And then the other part, LHG. That one there is the 19x. It's not the 171 that comes second. Does that make sense to everybody? The 171 is the total. So here I go 15x plus 1 plus 19x is equal to 171. Okay. Is that doable? And then obviously go through the algebra to solve that, combine your x's and subtract the 1 from both sides. That's the approach that you would use on one of those. I want you to be cautious. Do not get yourself in a habit of being very robotic. You'll hear me say this all the time. People that are robotic, they want to know, how do I do the steps to this problem? I want to know how to solve this problem every single time I come across it. You can't do that in a math course. Okay? Maybe that's been ingrained in your head since you were little because you were learning math facts like adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, that kind of stuff. But in general, you cannot do that. You cannot be robotic. You have to be able to kind of think on your feet and fluidly change your order of operation when you're setting up problems, you're solving problems based off how the problem's presented to you. Okay. We have to be able to understand how things are are altering from one problem to the next and how that affects what we need to do. Are there any other questions on there that you guys want to talk about?
What was it asking you to find in 5, 6, 7, and
5, 6, 7, so these here. So it's saying find measure of angle DEF. So what we want to do is we want to use the information they give us to express an equation that represents this scenario. And once we find that equation, solve for x. But now instead of saying find x, we're going to plug x back in and find what DEF is. So just doing one of those real quick, just so we can get it on film and get it on the website for people to practice. So DEF is the total. Alright, so that's the entire largest angle up there. So I'm going to put that on one side by itself. Now on the left hand side is DEW. So it's that little angle. So say 5x plus 15. And then WEF, which is that one, so 78. So solving this, you got 5x, 78 plus 15, what is that? So 98 minus 593 is equal to 12 plus 14x. I'm going to move the 5x to the right hand side, so it gives me 9x over here. We'll move the 12 over, which gives me 81, right? So x ends up being 9. So if x is 9, we're going to plug that back in to find DEF. So we got to plug it back into this expression here. So 12 plus 14 times 9. Okay. So what's that? 140 minus 14 would be what? 126 plus 12, 138. Okay, so we're looking for number 5 to be 138 degrees. If you got 9, which I'm assuming most people that got this wrong probably got 9, make sure you're answering the question. Okay? And I do those things on purpose. Obviously, you look through the worksheet. Did 1 through 4 kind of get you in the habit of finding x? But the next 4 don't ask you to find x, right? So I'm doing that type of stuff on purpose. A lot of my worksheets, not only am I trying to force you to learn some math and to practice some math, I want you to do test-taking strategies. Pay attention to detail, stuff like that, because those are the types of things that you see on an end-of-course exam or something like that, where they get you to go through a series of steps and a series of types of questions where you're finding just x, and then the next question is you're now doing something with that x. All right, so make sure you're answering the question because you're being asked that kind of stuff. Let's kind of stop there, unless you guys have other questions. Anybody have any other questions? Alright, we'll stop there. If you want to come back to this at some point, you can. Number 7. Alright, so number 7, the key phrase here is where they're telling me B has to be. Okay, B is on the interior of angle QRS. So, when we have a picture, so we know QRS has got to be the larger angle. So Q could go there, R could go there, and S could go there. And it really doesn't matter whether you flip-flop Q and S. Does that make sense? If they switch position, you'll get a different looking picture, but your information will be the same as the information we find here. Okay? Now B has got to be on the interior, so maybe B is right there. Remember, all these things are points on this end. So now BRS, they're saying is 6x plus 8. So this angle here, 6x plus 8. Then QRS, which is the whole thing, is 162. So I'm going to kind of skip over that right now. I'm going to go to QRB. QRB is this one here. Okay? So that's kind of how I do things. I always go in and I fill in the things that I know are individual angles. I'm not going to draw in that 162 in there because it gets cluttered. Okay? But I now know drawing in the 11x plus 1 and the 6x plus 8. Those are the two things that I need to add together. Those are the two angles that we've talked about in regards to angle addition. Those are the two adjacent angles that we can sum together. Now I've got to determine what is their total. Well, their total is QRS, so I'm going to go find QRS up here. And they're telling me it's at 162. So that's the setup. Okay. So now we'll get 17x plus 9 is equal to 162. I'm going to subtract that. I get 17x is equal to 153. And what does that give me for x? Anybody? 9? Okay. So x is 9. But now when we go back up, it says find the measure of angle QRB. So I'm coming here, 11 times 9 is 99, plus 1 is in my 100. Okay. If they don't give you a picture, draw a picture. I'm going to say that all year. Okay. Draw a picture, organize your information, make it look like questions 1 through 6, and go from there. Is that all right? Okay. I were you guys, I would